the situation, when she explained the situation to you and what is happening, was she at that time already informed that the AFU was on its way? Did she always know that she's being investigated?
Well, she knew that she was investigated, but what happened is that then there was a court order that was granted, which saw these guys coming through on Friday and attending to them as the story unfolded. So it was in light of that we now had to sit down and have serious conversation around this thing. And she gladly tendered her resignation to us with immediate effect.
So her hand wasn't forced or anything, because I mean, as a department, I assume that you would also have expected that she vacate her position, or that you suspend her somehow, because this is quite a serious case.
No, it wasn't at all. Look, remember that we are in the security industry. She understands the ethics that you expect from her, and having worked in the security industry herself, he understood the caliber of the person that we're expecting, and she as I've indicated, voluntarily decided to step down. Remember, this thing has been allegations around her all along.
Yes.
But now that NPA have actually now ruled and ordered that this must happen, then it was warranted that she must actually step down immediately.
How long have you been working with Mr. Lange?
We started together in February this year. You would recall that we are in coalition government in Ekurhuleni, which started in November. So she joined us towards end of January, beginning of November. I mean, beginning of February.
What made you feel that she's a suitable candidate to become your advisor, besides the fact that she had 35 years experience in the police? She was quite a questionable character back in 2018. Before she vacated her position, there was a lot of allegations around her. So what made you feel that she would be the suitable one to join your office?
Look, as you've indicated, the reality is that we can't take for granted the wisdom and experience that she have acquired, especially in the law enforcement space, and as a result she contributed immensely even to our being where we are right now. So to be quite honest with you, beside that cloud that was over her, the reality is that she knew what she was doing, which is why if you can look at her credentials when she started at South African Police Services, where she ended up becoming a police commissioner for the province, that cannot be taken for granted.
Of course, it shouldn't be taken for granted, but we also look at the crime in the province and the statistics of crime in the province even during her tenure. So I go back to my question on, besides her 35 years experience, with everything that has been going on around her, what made you feel that you can ignore all the other stuff and still give her a job?
Well, look, it wasn't, we didn't have much candidates to contest. Remember, this is one of the category 1 employments, which is a political appointment that happens within the city. So she would have come through the process of political deployment from Action SA in particular. And so we really didn't have people to contest along those lines.
So I assume you'd be advertising this position. Just very quickly, Mr. Moseki, and I don't know, during your conversations with her, did you at some point try to find out if she did do anything wrong? Did she try to explain anything to you? Because if the assets forfeiture unit now comes in, it's an even bigger issue. It means that investigations look to prove that she did something wrong.
Look, we didn't really get to the nitty-gritties of this whole matter. The allegations have always been there. She have always pleaded not guilty, in fact, until this point in time. And we also believed in a stance where we're saying a person is not guilty until proven guilty by the court of law, which is why we say it. Given the latest development where now NPA is moving and having this court order granted, then we literally had to say, let's have serious conversation and look at this thing, especially given the position that you occupy as a strategic advisor to the MMC Community Safety. It couldn't continue further than that.
All right, Mr. Moseki, thank you very much for your time and for coming into our studio. That's Letlhogonolo Moseki. He's the MMC for Community Safety in the Ekurhuleni City.